When people think superhero, they picture leaping rooftops and capes flapping in the wind, strength, speed, spectacle.
Oh, yes. But tonight, we're talking about a hero who saved the world sitting down.
And I want to make this clear, not as a sidekick, not as a symbol, as the brain behind the operation. This is a story of Oracle, the former Batgirl who became one of the most important heroes in comic history.
Indeed. Now, Barbara Gordon wasn't a quote girl version of Batman. She was brilliant. She had a photographic or eidetic memory, elite hacker instincts before hacking was cool, and a moral compass that didn't wobble.
As Batgirl, she chose the mask. She didn't inherit it. That matters.
She was no damsel in distress, and that choice she made makes what comes next heavier, because this isn't a story about fragility, it's about interruption.
In the Killing Joke, Barbara is shot by the Joker and paralyzed.
For years, comics treated this ability as temporary. Miracles, magic cures, resets.
But here's the quiet revolution. At least initially, they didn't fix her. Barbara didn't vanish. She didn't become tragic wallpaper and object of pity. She adapted and then rewrote the rules.
Barbara becomes Oracle, an information broker, strategist, the connective tissue of the DC universe.
Yes, and she knows everything and she sees everything and she coordinates everyone.
Batman doesn't operate without her, neither does her personal army, the birds of prey. She's not accomplishing despite disability. Her lived experience sharpens her perception. She outthinks danger.
This wasn't inspiration porn. This was competence.
Now let's talk about why Oracle actually matters. Oracle was the first mainstream superheroine with a permanent exceptionality who wasn't erased, cured, or sidelined.
And here's the old school truth. Heroes used to age. They carried scars. They adapted. Some even died. Oracle brought that adaptation tradition back.
For readers with disabilities, or as I like to call them, varying exceptionalities, especially in the 90s, Oracle wasn't symbolic. She was accurate, smart, capable, desired, in control.
She said, as many of us who have disabilities in the real world say, heroism isn't about what you can't do, it's about how you adapt, about what you refuse to stop doing.
Or what you can do, also, right, Dr. Deneen?
Absolutely.
I would have to agree with that. And later, reboots controversially restored Barbara's mobility. Some fans cheered, and others mourned.
Because Oracle wasn't a limitation, she was an expansion.
She taught an entire generation that leadership, intelligence, and courage don't require standing up.
Yeah, you don't need a cape to change the battlefield.
You're absolutely right, Dr. Weaver, you don't. And sometimes the most powerful hero is the one who sees the whole map.
Oracle didn't stop being Batgirl. She became something rarer, a hero who stayed and made everyone else better. Now we're going to talk about some real life oracles.
History loves one question when disability enters the story. Will they recover?
But tonight's episode flips that on its head.
Because the real historical question, friends, isn't did they walk again? It's what did they build instead? Tonight, we're putting three figures into our conversation, one fictional, two very real. who refused to disappear when the rules changed. Oracle, Jill Kinmont, and Brooke Ellison. Barbara Gordon became Oracle. As we said before, the comics did something very radical for the late 1980s. They let her disability stay.
No miracle cure, no magical reset.
And instead of sidelining her, they moved her to the center.
From a disability history lens, Oracle represents a shift from physical heroism to systems heroism. She doesn't punch crime anymore. She coordinates justice. That's important because historically, disabled people were often barred or incapable of doing physical labor, but excelled in administration, intelligence, teaching, and strategy when society let them. Oracle isn't less Batgirl. She's Batgirl grown into a general commanding an army.
In 1955, Jill Kinmont was one of America's most promising skiers. She was pretty much Olympic bound.
Absolutely. And then came the fall, a broken neck, quadriplegia.
Her story became the well-known book and film, The Other Side of the Mountain. It's often dismissed and remembered as a tragedy, but here's what disability history notices. Jill didn't stop being an athlete. She became a teacher. She redirected discipline, courage, and body knowledge into coaching children with disabilities. Like Oracle, she moved from performance to mentorship.
She didn't reclaim the mountain, she claimed the other side of it.
Yes, she did. And I think that there's something to be said for that. And then there's Brooke Ellison.
Little personal note, this is a woman I had the honor of knowing and being friends with friends. Brooke was paralyzed at age 10 with high level quadriplegia after an accident. She needed a ventilator support for the rest of her life, but she had a brilliant mind. She was offered a scholarship to Harvard and took it. From a historical standpoint, Brooke represents something new, not adaptation within the system, but forcing the system to adapt.
Yeah, Harvard wasn't built for ventilators, personal aids, or wheelchairs.
So Brooke did what many disabled pioneers have always done. She brought her needs and her institution, as she called it, with her. She couldn't find reliable aides, so her mother, Jean, moved into the dorms, went with her to every class and every activity, not to control or infantilize her daughter, but to let her fire shine through. She later became a professor of stem cell research at Stony Brook University in Long Island, had a film made of her life, and ran for the New York Senate. Like Oracle, Brooke wasn't just succeeding individually, she was changing how power, access, and intelligence were imagined. And let me tell you, friends, she was the kindest person in the world, but she took no crap from anybody. And if you did something she didn't like, she'd let you know about it. She didn't ask permission to belong. She was already arrived, already belonging. She was my friend and mentor for many years, a kind but very determined, no nonsense woman who took no guff from experts, lived on her own terms.
Dr. Deneen, may I say that this is a very inspirational story, and I'm very sorry that I did not get to meet Miss Brooke myself. I think we would have gotten along wonderfully.
I don't doubt it. I mean, she had a wicked sense of humor, and but a good heart and a deep religious faith, which helped her a great deal.
Like I said, she and I would have gotten along great. So, so what connects a comic book hacker, a fallen skier, and a Harvard scholar?
They all reject the same lie that disability is the end of authority. Oracle controls information. Jill Kinmont shaped young bodies and minds. Brooke Ellison reshaped elite education itself. Historically, disabled people were allowed to exist, but not allowed to lead. These three figures break that rule clean in half.
Yeah, they don't overcome disability, they govern from within it. They don't govern from a disability, they govern from their ability. That's a difference.
Indeed. And none of them were looking for handouts or sympathy. They were looking for an opportunity as I have, to become their best selves. There's something very deep and traditional here. It's almost ancient. In older societies, elders, injured warriors, disabled thinkers often became politicians, advisors, judges, and teachers. Oracle, Jill, and Brooke, each in their own way, revived that lineage.
The hero who stays.
The mountain that teaches.
And the lesson history keeps forgetting. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't standing back up, it's staying exactly where you are and refusing to be ignored.
I hope that you have gotten something out of this episode. And I hope that perhaps you will consider that just as Henry Ford had to change what he thought so that disability was not the focus, but ability was the focus. And that you will remember that people with all kinds of exceptionalities, and guess what, folks? I have never met a person that didn't have some sort of exceptionality, and I've met a lot of people.
And I also encourage you to remember that just because you have an exceptionality, that's not always a bad thing. I think exceptionalities can make people unique and great in some ways.
My own experience, folks, I have learned lessons from my exceptionality, difficult as it's been at times. I don't want to sugarcoat things that I couldn't have learned any other way. It's made me grateful for the abilities I do have, brought me closer to God and to friends and family, and created a new way of looking at things. This was very dear to my heart, both because I knew Brooke personally and I loved the Oracle story as a young child. So thank you very much, folks, for taking the time to listen to it. Please leave us a like and a comment. We're having a ball with these superhero episodes. There's more coming. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.